Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Lost Cards here on Commander's Brew. Here's what this is. Basically, earlier in the week, we brewed up a Brudiclad Superfriends deck for our Brudiclad Bowl Challenge. And we had so many great suggestions and so many great ideas. We couldn't fit them all into that episode. So we moved them on over here to the Lost Cards. This is where they're going to live from now on. So check it out. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Lost Cards. Here we go. This was a very fun deck to brew, a very ambitious deck to brew, and had a lot of fun chatting about it as well. Of course, right. Like always, there's tons of stuff that we could have used and other ideas we could have used and probably should have used.
Sure. I mean, especially if Brudiclad is the theme, yes. Right? Like there are a few commanders that inspire more ways to brew than Brudiclad. So again, I'll remind you, if you haven't listened to our deck tech on the Brudiclad Bowl Super Friends deck, listen to that now. And now this is just an above and beyond extra angles, extra cards, extra ways to do things. The first thing up here are Gideons. I know one of the big thing we talked about on the show is that you can't mutate onto Gideons because Gideon specifically turns into a human soldier. And you can't mutate onto humans. So I don't know. Did you figure out a way to get around that to be able to mutate onto Gideons?
Well, no, we didn't figure that out. Specifically, our guy Dylan in our Patreon, our Discord, our Patreon, he really tried to work it out with Gideon and just found that it wasn't possible. Even this one here, Gideon Blackblade, the one with the static ability that on your turn he's a 4/4, it still doesn't work. It still doesn't do what we want it to do. But I was thinking, like, if you really wanted to go Brudiclad and use Gideons, you could build up a pretty interesting Jeskai deck where we have maybe like a Sakashima as our partner commander, as one of the partners, you know.
Oh, and the other one would have to be Boros.
Yeah, and then we just sort of...
and if we're Brudiclad, I would do Akiri for sure. All those artifacts, give an Akiri line slinger, like +1/+0.
But we still can't make copies of it. So, I don't know, maybe that doesn't work. Anyways, it turns out it's probably pretty hard to work with Gideon. But that being said, I actually think that the Sakashima angle was just a plain interesting one. Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, that is. We could also use the Imposter if we really want, but Sakashima of 1,000 Faces and Brudiclad, they go together great. Because if we can make a bunch of token copies of legendary things... I mean, Sakashima says the legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. I like Sakashima better than Mirror Gallery for that reason. I mean, it's pretty unlikely that your opponents would be able to do something really broken with, turning the legend rule off. But I still,
lots of people run clones.
Yeah, it's true. And it's just always better when it only affects your stuff, right? When only I'm dodging the rule.
Yeah. That's what you want.
I think a good Jeskai version is also around here. You know what I mean? Like somewhere it felt like Jeskai was just gonna be a good color trio for this thing that we're trying to do.
Did you explore if our goal is to mutate onto token copies of Planeswalkers and copy them a million times with Brudiclad, are there any Planeswalkers with static abilities from War of the Spark that would be amazing to have tons of those ones?
Oh yeah.
With just brutal for your opponents, or I guess they're all brutal for your opponents. There aren't too many that help you. They mostly hurt opponents, if I recall correctly. I
mean, Angrath, Captain of Chaos, gives our creatures menace.
Well, I can't stack menace though.
That's true. You can't stack menace. Yeah, that's true. That's a good question.
I mean, I know, we can hose searches. Nihiri makes them not be able to draw extra, but that's just a one. That doesn't stack either. Oh, I'm having trouble coming up with any of those.
I mean, they would all be in War of the Spark, most of them, at least, anyways. Yeah. There's only a handful that aren't, but...
I mean, if you could copy the Nissas, then all your forests would tap for additional green over and over and over. So we could build a we could be like, yeah, now all my forests tap for 15 green. So here we go.
That's a very interesting angle. I don't mind that at all. Which one is
Ooh,
that?
okay, how about this then? Also, so if we also get a bunch of token copies of Saheeli Sublime Artificer, now that when we're casting instants or sorceries, we're making one colorless servo for each copy of the Saheelis we have.
This card is in the deck. Actually, I should have mentioned that because it's so great. Whenever we cast a Planeswalker, you get this action. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those seem like the best. Those seem like the best stackable ones. I mean, Ob Nixilis, the Hate Twisted. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Ob Nixilis deals 1 to that player, so that whenever they draw a card, they're taking 10 or 15.
Honestly, these are better. These are all better than the things I had in the deck. And the great thing about the deck is that if you listen back, it's a 5-color deck, so you can actually just swap all of these Planeswalkers in.
What about Kesmina, Enigmatic Mentor? Spells your opponents cast that target a creature or planeswalker you control cost 2 more. So now they can't target you without paying an extra 20.
Sean, you're blowing this up. These are all better planeswalkers than were in the deck to start with.
Okay, and then how about New Jaya if like more recent Jaya
Valor.
if another red source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much +1. So one lightning bolt does like a maybe 10 or something like that. Okay.
Again, these are all better. These are all better. These are all better. The Planeswalkers were the part that I put, like, I just looked for good +1 abilities. So naturally when I was thinking about these, I didn't even think about the static ability Planeswalkers because I was just like, we got a plus, we got to get loyalty counters going on these guys because they don't provide their own loyalty counters. Because when we make Jayas, the problem is that it's only this ability. We don't get to do any of her things. But there's absolutely a version where this is like, you could almost do a deck where the whole point is to just do Jaya. You know what I mean? Or just do Saheeli. Or just do, and only do the one, and then the rest of the deck is built around that.
Yeah.
That's something. I was also thinking just like, what are some other ways to just take Brudiclad, period? Like, what are some other, like, even outside of the realm of Planeswalkers, like, Brudiclad has so many possibilities.
Oh my gosh.
And
well, yeah, like doing, so Brudiclad to me hinges around those blue spells that copy artifacts or creature. I mean, it's so easy to copy creatures, but like I'm interested in copying some weird artifacts and like getting some stuff to happen with those.
I mean, is there anything really interesting about Sakashima and copying Brudiclad himself and
I don't think that
making
does
a million?
anything.
I know, right? It just, all it does is put out that many 2/1 mirrors, and then you can change them. You change them that many times permanently. You know what I mean? So that doesn't really do that much.
Right.
Interesting, though.
I'm having a look at some of the more recently printed artifacts to see if anything like,
I know Tago is one that came up in the talks in the Discord. From Commander Legends. He's the guy. He's the Goblin Weaponsmith. He's the guy that makes the rocks, which are artifact equipments.
Oh, those Brudiclad works great with those. Well, Mirror Maid, is there a way to copy? No, we can't copy an enchantment on the stack.
Can you copy?
Wait,
we can copy.
Does that.
We can copy. Yes, we can copy permanents with.
Lithoform engine.
That's it.
Oh.
Okay, Lithoform engine. Copy target permanent spell you control.
That could be an enchantment.
Yep.
And then we go down. So I'm probably looking to copy Mirror Maid because Mirror Maid only costs 3.
So Mirror Maid
costs 3 and it enters as a artifact or an enchantment. But because the enchantments I'm going to want to make a bunch of copies of cost way more than 3. So to use Lithoform Engine for 4, Mirror Maid is going to be my jam to do that. That's going to be my main thing. And now let me look up some fun enchantments that have been printed recently.
Oh, I see. So you're looking to copy someone else's stuff. I was thinking.
No, I'll copy my own stuff, but I wanted Brudiclad, instead of making a whole army of cool artifacts, I want to make an army of cool enchantments, and I want to see what we could break that way.
But why are you using Mirror Maid?
Because it costs 3 to put it on the stack, and the enchantments that I want to copy surely cost 7.
Right, I see what you mean. Yes.
I won't be able to lithoform them together.
Right, you're looking to lower that cost. That makes sense. What's the one that you flip a coin and it makes a token copy of a creature? You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
It's red enchantment.
Is it Mirror Gallery?
It's Mirror something.
Reflection? Mirror, yeah.
We'll leave this in. This is all good for the show.
That's what the Lost Cards is about. It's other things we didn't
Mirror
get to do.
March?
Mirror March, that's it.
That's
the one.
Mirror March. Whenever a non-token creature. Oh. Wait, no. That doesn't matter. Because if we have 1,000 Mirror Marches, we can copy the regular non-token creatures. That's fine. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you flip a coin until you lose a flip. For each flip you won, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Those tokens
I
gain
like
haste.
it.
Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So Lithoform engine on either Mirror March or the Mirror Maid, whatever, and then Brudiclad, and that gets nuts. You play a creature, and if you got 10 treasures out or something like that, even just a few, even just 4 or 5 treasures, things get pretty wild out there. Lot of coin flipping. Anyways, I love this idea. I love this deck. This sounds a lot of fun. It sounds more reasonable for some reason to me to be copying just one thing and only needing 2 types of cards. It seems like it's a little easier to get going. But hey, this is what we're here for, man. We're here to reach for the stars.
Well, if we were to copy enchantments, just a quick search for the top enchantments in Commander decks based on EDH rec. I mean, obviously, Smothering Tithe would be incredible to get 1 million of. It's a bit of a what do you do with all that mana? I don't know at that point.
Yeah, I mean that's a great one to just have in the deck because it also works with Brudiclad.
That's right. Oh yeah, all those treasures become more.
Yeah,
they become
more and
Smothering
more.
Tithe.
That's wild. The number doubles every time someone doesn't pay for it.
Well, they just can't. At a certain point, it's just like, I can't pay the 1,000 I need to pay to not have you make
right. It's not just paying once. It's paying like however many times. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I can stop you from making 1 treasure, but you're still going to make 8, so I won't even bother.
You need to run mass enchantment removal to get rid of this stuff too, or bounce if you run mass bounce. So like Cyclonic Rift gets really good against this deck for sure. But I mean, that's just always good. So it's not like you worried about that. Yeah. Anyways,
there's some enchantments that are like Looney Tunes to copy. 1 million Beastmaster Ascensions. I mean, at that point, why not just do that Cathar's Crusade or? Oh,
it doesn't take much, right? It doesn't take too much. Like basically any enchantment that sits out, like most of them are going to be pretty good to make a bunch of copies of, and that is honestly something I've never seen. I've never seen anyone copy an enchantment that they had. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, and so if you're going Teamer, if you're cheating with Teamer and you're just Brudiclad's hidden inside, we're naturally going to include Awakening Zone as ramp and as a way to make tokens. But now we can make a bunch of Awakening Zones to make a bunch more tokens, and then there's like, okay, now I'm going to flip them to something else, or just cast a huge fireball or something.
That's the thing that's so great about Lithoform Engine. It's not just a one-time effect. You can keep doing this. You can do it for every... Obviously, untapping it and so on, but like, we should just make this deck for the show. This is incredible. This should just be fun. A full.
Well, I mean, we kind of just did. We kind of just did make it for the Lost Cards.
That's true.
I mean,
it's Lost Cards.
That's what Lost Cards is about.
That's true.
Other brews.
I mean, this is a good episode of Lost Cards then.
Yeah, I think so. I hope you're inspired by this. Yeah, so this is all tied to, if you haven't watched it, watch the main episode about the Brudiclad Bowl. Sisay Superfriends deck. It's all about Brudiclad copying planeswalkers which have been mutated. It's a wild ride. Yeah, and if you're in our Discord and you're not keeping up with the messages, that's also fine. Not everyone wants to be an active Discord member, but we got a Brudiclad Bowl happening soon. It should be very fun. Andy, I believe we're gonna see if we can get a couple of those on our YouTube channel.
That's right.
Maybe you'll air them on your Twitch stream, Andy Hullbone.
Yeah, come check that one out. You'll see us playing Commander over there, and then a lot of times those VODs, especially now, will be starting to move over to our Commander's Brew YouTube page. So even if you're just staying right here on YouTube, you're going to be able to see that stuff. Yeah, thanks for checking out the Lost Cards. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too, and for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.